Hello everybody, this is Courtney with Fiber Fox Studios, and today we are going to be doing another Mosaic Monday. So welcome to Mosaic Monday. I am going to be using these two color yarns. And before we get started, you want to mention this pattern and a few variations of it are going to be found over in my Etsy store. I have a link down below in the description. You of course do not need to purchase the pattern. I'm going to teach this particular pattern that I'm showing you today and what you saw in the pictures in this video. So you're going to see the whole thing, every row. There's a total of 12 rows. We're going to be working in a multiple of 13 this time. So we're going to do 13 stitches plus 4 at the end to create this kind of variation of a Greek key. I was requested to do this video. I hope that requester is very happy with what I've come up with. I've made it a little bit larger than what I've seen out there, and I hope that's what you were looking for. So we're going to get started by choosing 2 colors of yarn at least. You can always choose more, and what you would be doing is having either 2 color A's, for example, and 1 color B, or 1 color A, 2 colors B. I think that's right. So we're going to grab a crochet hook. I'm going to be using a 4.5 millimeter hook in this tutorial. You can refer down to that description again, because I do have recommended hook sizes for different yarns, or if you're going to be mixing 2 yarn sizes together. So let's grab at least 2 colors of yarn and let's get started. For me today, I'm going to be using this pretty peachy pink painted style yarn as my color A, and then I'm going to be using this marled green yarn as my color B. I'm doing this to show you don't always have to use solids. Hopefully this will be okay and translate well for the video. If you have any questions at all, you can always leave me a comment down below. I do love hearing from you guys, and we're going to get started. So pause here, grab your materials, and I'll be back in just a moment. We're going to be beginning with our slip knot, and as always, you can do the slip knot any way that you prefer, whatever you're comfortable with, but we're going to start by doing that slip knot. And now we're going to begin doing our starting chain. Down below in the description, I do have some different project suggestions in those starting chains, and you are more than welcome to do any project that you want, of course, or just follow along directly with me. I'm going to chain a total of 26 and then add 4 to the end. So for those of you who are new to crochet, to chain, we're just going to grab our yarn, pull through that loop that's on our hook, and that created our very first chain. If you are brand new to Mosaic Crochet and a little concerned that you might not be able to recognize that very first chain, you can always add a stitch marker at this point. You just slip a stitch marker in. You can use a scrap piece of yarn, whatever you have on hand, slip that in there, and then you will know that this is your very first chain when we work row 1. So this will be at the end of row 1 though. So we're going to just grab again and pull on through that loop that's on the hook, creating our chains. So please pause here, meet back up with me when you have your starting chain ready, and we'll get ready to start row 1. We are now going to begin row 1. So I have a total of 30 chains here. So I did my 2 repeats of the multiple of 13, and then I added 4 to the end for a total of 30 chains. We're going to begin by working into the second chain from our hook. So if you are brand new to Mosaic or to crochet in general, you want to identify these V's. So you see the V right here. We're going to be skipping, that's our very first stitch. We're going to skip that, and we're going to work here into the second stitch. So hopefully you guys can see that. So we're just simply going to insert our hook under that V, grab our yarn and pull up a loop, grab our yarn and pull through 2. And that is our first traditional single crochet. Now we're going to start working back loop only single crochets into the rest of the stitches down the row, and then we'll meet up at the very end to the very last stitch in the row, because we're going to need to do another traditional single crochet in the very last stitch. So now all you will need to do is insert into this back loop. So I'm picking up one loop, and that is all we're going to work into. We're going to grab our yarn and pull up a loop. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through 2. And that's our first back loop only single crochet. Now into the very next stitch, we're going to pick up the back loop again, only that back loop, grab our yarn and pull up a loop, grab our yarn and pull through 2, completing our second back loop only single crochet. So continue to work in this exact same manner all the way down the rest of your row, and meet back up with me when you have one last chain left to work into, and we will do that one together. I am here at the end of row 1 and I have 1 stitch left. So this V right here is the very last stitch in my row. And as I said before, we're going to be working a traditional single crochet into that stitch. So we want to make sure that we get under the V completely. I'm sorry, I'm using a new camera today, so I hope it's focusing correctly. So I'm completely under the V, and I simply grab my yarn, pull up a loop, grab again, pull through 2, and that completes my traditional single crochet at the end of the row. It is very important that you do your traditional single crochet at the beginning and end of the row so that you have nice, clean, straight sides for your border. Never ever work a drop down double crochet is what I like to call them. Never work that double crochet in the very last stitch of the row if you're doing something like Apache Tears or another pattern. Always keep that in mind. Last stitch will always be a traditional single crochet, and the first stitch is a traditional single crochet. Now, since we're at the end of row 1, we're going to be switching over to color B for row number 2. So that means we've got to bind off our yarn. I like to chain up 2, 1 and 2, and then clip my yarn and I cinch that down. You can bind off however you're comfortable. I'm not saying that this is the correct way. This is just how I do it. So now what I do, if you want to do what I do, is I pull this on through, and then I place my hand on the tail. I grab the tail between thumb and index, place the other hand, thumb and index, right above those 2 chains, and I'm going to pull up on this tail as I cinch down, kind of push down on those 2 chains, and it forms that little knot right there at the end. So I will now move on to row number 2. Grab color B, whatever you've chosen. For me, color B is going to be this green yarn. We're going to do another slip knot. Now we'll pick up our work. We're staying on the same side. We're doing overlay crochet method, or the overlay mosaic crochet method. So we must stay working on the same side of our work. We're going to, all of our drop downs that we do will all be on one side. So our pattern will show on this side of our work, and the reverse side will be striped. We want to find the very first stitch in the row. On row 1, we did have a true turning chain. One of those extra chains at the end became a turning chain for us. I now have a total of 29 stitches. So right here, you will see this little bump here on the side, and that little bump is not our first chain. It's not our first stitch, it's just a turning chain. You can actually grab and scoot it down out of your way. The first stitch in the row will not move. This will. So make sure that you're not accidentally working into this. It can kind of take on that V shape and confuse you. That will throw off your count, and you'll be off all the way through the rest of your rows. So just scoot that little side down, the little bump here, out of your way. You will see your first true V. This is the first stitch in the row, and we are going to insert under that V to do our traditional single crochet. So now I'm going to take that slip knot that I have, and I add it onto my hook. I pull up that loop, and then you can let your tail fall. We are going to chain 1, We go back into that same exact first stitch, making sure we're working in the same stitch, and we grab our yarn and pull up a loop, grab our yarn and pull through 2, and that completes our traditional single crochet here in the first stitch of the row. Our repeat for this row is exactly the same as the previous row. Our row 2 repeat is back loop only, single crochet. So you'll identify your next stitch, pick up that back loop only, so only one side of the V. We're going to grab and pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2, and that completes our first back loop only single crochet. So we're going to continue to work in that exact same manner all the way down the rest of our row. We will meet back up one more time for the last stitch in the row to make sure we are doing our traditional single crochet. So please pause here and meet back up with me when you're ready to move on to the end of row 2. We are here at the end of row 2. We have one stitch left, and we're going to be doing our traditional single crochet in that very last stitch. So again, you want to make sure that you're getting under the V, under both loops, and complete your traditional single crochet. Again, you will be chaining up 2 or binding off however you like. We're going to clip our yarn and switch over to color A for row 3. So get your color A ready and meet back up with me for row 3. We're going to begin row 3 now. I have my slip knot ready. I'm returning to the very front of my row to the first stitch. Again, we're going to make sure that we scoot that chain 1 this time, because we do a chain 1 to start each row. So we're going to scoot that down out of the way and make sure that we are getting into this very first stitch. We're going to insert under the V. We're going to add that slip knot to our hook. We'll draw up that loop, let our tail fall, chain 1. Now we must go back into the same stitch, into that very first stitch, and do our traditional single crochet. Row 3 is going to begin having some of our mosaic work start. So we're going to be working a drop down double crochet into the very next stitch. And you will do that by identifying your very next stitch. You will slide down 2 rows below, and we're going to find this little bump. This is the front loop that was left by us doing the back loop only. So we're going to be working into this loop. So we want to wrap our yarn around our hook, just like you would for a normal double crochet. Identify the very next stitch, slide down, finding that little bump, turn and pick up that loop, grab and pull up a loop with nice loose tension, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. You've just completed your first drop down double crochet. Now we want to identify the very next stitch, as we're going to begin working a total of 12 back loop only single crochets. So to identify our very next stitch, we simply look at our work and we can see it here. If you are new to mosaic crochet, you're going to want to fold back this double crochet, and back here you will see one stitch is covered by one drop down double crochet. So now we can know for sure that this very next stitch is our next stitch to work at our back loop only single crochets in. So we're going to do a total of 12. So there's my first one. So there's 1. Here's 2. 3. Here's number 4. Here's number 5. Oop, don't split your yarn. I have a habit of doing that on camera. It's number 5 for me. Here is number 6. number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, and number 12 ends our repeat for this row. So our repeat began over here with 1 drop down double crochet followed by 12 back loop only single crochets. So to continue on down your row, I'm going to work this repeat one more time with you, but we won't be able to do that for purposes of the tutorial on every row. But we will begin doing our repeat again. You're just going to continue down your row working the same exact set of stitches over and over until your end of your row. So we're going to begin the repeat one more time. So our repeat begins with a drop down double crochet. So wrap our yarn around our hook, identify the very next stitch, slide down 2 rows below looking for that little bump, the front loop, and we're going to turn and pick that up. Now we grab our yarn and pull up a loop with nice loose tension because we don't want to draw this up. We won't, if we do it too tight, it will pull those front loops up and it won't look as nice and uniform. So nice loose tension here. Grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. So that's our first stitch of the repeat. Now we're going to do 12 back loop only single crochets over the next 12 stitches. So right here is my very next stitch. If I wasn't sure, I would just fold this back and look back there. I have 1 stitch. So now we insert, picking up our back loop only. Grab and pull up a loop. Grab and pull through 2. So that's our first back loop only single crochet. We're going to do 12. So there's 1. Here's number 2. Here's number 3. Here's number 4. Number 5 for me. Six. 7. 8. 9, 10, 11, and 12. That ends our repeat. So the repeat began with the drop down double crochet, followed by 12 back loop only single crochets. If you have more of a row to complete, you're going to pause here and we'll meet back up when you're ready to do the end of row number 3. For the rest of us, we're going to continue on. So for this pattern, what we need to do, we have 2 stitches left. So all we have to do here is start our repeat again for the next stitch that we have available. And we know that our very last stitch in the row will be a traditional single crochet. So we will start the repeat by doing a drop down double crochet. So wrap our yarn around our hook, identify the next stitch, slide down 2 rows below, finding your bump, grab and pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. Now we have our last stitch in the row, which is going to be the traditional single crochet. So we just complete that. Now we bind off and get ready to move on to row number 4. Row 4 begins now. We're going to insert into the very first stitch of the row, just as we have been, to do our traditional single crochet. Join on color B this time. With your slip knot, pull up that loop, chain 1, go back into the very first same stitch, grab and pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2, and that completes our traditional single crochet. Our repeat for row 4 is going to begin now with 1 back loop only single crochet here into the very next stitch. Into the very next stitch, we are going to do our drop down double crochet. So we slide down 2 rows below, finding our front loop, the little bump, pick that up and grab and pull up a loop, nice loose tension, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. We will now do a total of 10 back loop only single crochets into the very next 10 stitches. So we're going to do back loop only, 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, six, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We will now do 1 drop down double crochet right here into the very next stitch. Wrap our yarn around our hook, identify the very next stitch, slide down 2 rows below, picking up that bump, grab and pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. And that ends our repeat for this row. So our repeat began over here with 1 back loop only single crochet. We did 1 drop down, 10 back loop only single crochets, 1 drop down double crochet. So that ends the repeat. So you're now going to work in the same exact set of stitches all the way down the rest of your row. So I'm going to do this one more time with you guys so you understand exactly what you're doing. So our repeat begins again with 1 back loop only single crochet, 1 drop down double crochet, 10 back loop only single crochets over the next 10 stitches. There's 1, here's number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Our repeat ends with our double crochet. So we're going to drop down 2 rows below, finding this little bump right there, front loop, grab and pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. That ends the repeat. So for those of you who have a larger project that you're working, you will now pause. You'll continue to work on down the rest of your row, doing your single crochet in the back loop only, 1 drop down, 10 back loop only single crochets, 1 drop down all the way down the rest of your row. For the rest of you who are doing a swatch right here with me, we're going to go ahead and finish out the rest of our row. So this is our row end now. So just like before, we have 2 stitches left. So we begin our repeat in the very next stitch by doing the back loop only single crochet. And then of course we know our last stitch in the row is always our traditional single crochet. So we make sure that we are going under both loops this time. And finish out your single crochet. Now we will bind off and move on to row number 5. Here's what our work is looking like after completing those first 4 rows. We are now joining on for row number 5 with color A. So you'll be switching back over to your color A. It's the peachy pink color for me. We're going to identify our very first stitch. And I just want to show this one more time. Make sure that this chain 1 is scooted down out of your way and you are not working in that. You can see it right here. That is not our first stitch. This is our first stitch. So we're going to make sure that we go under the V and work into that first stitch in this row. So row 5, just like all the other rows, begins with our traditional single crochet. So we add color A on and draw up our loop. Now we will chain 1 and go back into the same first stitch, right there into that same exact stitch, and we will do our traditional single crochet. Our repeat for row 5 is going to begin now. We are beginning with 1 drop down double crochet. So we will simply slide down 2 rows below, picking up this first bump. It's the front loop. So we're going to pick that up, draw up our loop, nice loose tension, make sure you're nice and loose, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. Our repeat continues with 1 back loop only single crochet, followed by 1 drop down double crochet. So we identify our next stitch, slide directly down 2 rows below, picking up our bump, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. We will now do a total of 8 back loop only single crochets over these next 8 stitches. So you will insert into the back loop and complete our first back loop only single crochet. There's number 1. Here's number 2. Number 3. Number 4. And I'm pulling out a little more yarn, I apologize. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8. Now we will complete 1 drop down double crochet. So we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook, find our next stitch, slide down 2 rows below, grab and pull up a loop, nice loose tension, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. And our repeat will end with 1 back loop only single crochet. So let's recap that. Our repeat began over here with 1 drop down, 1 drop down double crochet, 1 back loop only single crochet, 1 drop down. We have a total of 8 back loop only single crochets across this section, 1 drop down double crochet, and 1 back loop only single crochet ends the repeat. So you will pause here and you will continue to work in the same set of stitches on down the rest of your row and you will meet back up with me when you are ready to move on to row number 6. Please keep in mind that down here at the end of the row, you will start your repeat for 1 stitch and then complete your traditional single crochet in the final stitch of the row. Here's what our work is looking like after completing the first 5 rows of our pattern. We are now starting row number 6. We're joining on with color B this time. Into the first stitch, we are doing our traditional single crochet. From here, I'm going to refer to all of the stitches as either a single crochet or a double crochet, as we've established exactly how we're working these. So we just chained 1, we go back into the same exact stitch, pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2. So we will begin our repeat immediately with 1 single crochet. And remember, we're working in the back loop, so nothing's changing. We're just going to kind of simplify what I'm saying to explain it. So we have a back loop, only single crochet that's going to begin our repeat. Now we do our double crochet. So identify our very next stitch, slide down 2 rows below, finding this first little front loop that we come into contact with, and complete out that double crochet. We're now doing a single crochet into the very next stitch, followed by 1 double crochet here into the very next. Now we will complete 6 single crochets over the next 6 stitches. Insert into that back loop. There's my first. Here's number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. And number 6. Now we will do our double crochet right here into the very next stitch. Into the very next stitch, we're doing our single crochet. And our repeat ends for this row with our double crochet right here into this very next stitch. Nice loose tension. And that ends our repeat for this row. So row 6 repeat began over here with our back loop only single crochet. Then we did our double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, 6 single crochets in the back loop across here, 1 drop down double, 1 single crochet, and 1 double crochet. So you will pause here and keep working in this exact same set of stitches on down the remainder of your row. You will meet back up with me when you are ready to move on to row number 7. Please keep in mind, when you get down here, you will complete your repeat, but you will have these 2 stitches left. You will start the repeat in this very next stitch, and then you will end in your traditional single crochet here. So meet back up with me when you are ready to move on to row number 7. We're now beginning row number 7. This is what your work is looking like. We are going to complete our traditional single crochet in that first stitch as I have done here. Now our repeat for row 7 is beginning immediately. We're going to do our double crochet here in the very next stitch. Slide down 2 rows below and pick up that bump. Grab and pull up a loop. Grab and pull through 2. Grab and pull through 2. In the very next stitch, we're going to do our single crochet. Try not to split your yarn. And single crochet now. So we have 1 single crochet. The next stitch, we are going to do our double crochet. In the very next stitch, we're doing our single crochet. followed by 1 double crochet. We will now complete 4 single crochets over the next 4 stitches. Here's 1. Here's number 2. Number 3. And number 4. The very next stitch right here, we are going to do our drop down double crochet. One back loop only single crochet into the very next stitch, and our repeat ends with 1 double crochet right here into this next stitch. I'm sorry, we have one more stitch to do. We're doing 1 single crochet, ends our repeat. I apologize. So our repeat began over here with our double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, 4 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet. If you take a look at your work, you'll actually see what you're doing, which will make that substantially easier to remember. And of course, row start times are all down in the description for you if you need a little extra help. You may now pause here and meet back up with me when you are ready to move on to row number 8. You are now just going to continue working on down, doing your repeat, which begins with your double crochet in the very next stitch. Single crochet into the very next stitch. The double crochet into the very next stitch. Single crochet into the very next stitch. Double crochet into the very next. Four single crochets over the next 4 stitches. Double crochet into the very next stitch. Single crochet into the very next, double crochet here into the very next, single crochet, ends the repeat. So our second repeat began over here, and it ends right here, thumb to thumb. Now for those of you who would like to see the row end, since I am here at the end, we will go ahead and do our row end together. We're going to wrap our yarn and do our double crochet because we're starting that repeat again for 1 stitch. And traditional single crochet here into the very last stitch of the row. Now we will chain up and bind off. We are now beginning row number 8. I have joined on with color B in a single crochet in the first stitch of the row, just as we've been doing. We will now begin our repeat for row number 8 with a single crochet here into the back loop only on this very next stitch. So 1 single crochet. We will now do 1 drop down double crochet right here into the next stitch. We're going to follow that with 1 single crochet into the very next stitch. We will be doing a drop down double crochet here into the next, or double crochet. One single crochet, one drop double crochet, two single crochets over the next 2 stitches, working in that back loop only. So there's 1, here's 2. Now we will do our double crochet here into this next stitch. Single crochet into the next stitch. Double crochet into the next. Single crochet into the next. Double crochet into the very next stitch. That ends our repeat for this row. So our repeat began over here with our 1 single crochet into the back loop, our 1 drop down double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, 2 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, and we end with a double crochet. So if you take a look at what you're doing, you are doing 3 of these double crochets separated by a single crochet, then 2 single crochets, and then you repeat that again. You have 3 double crochets, each separated by a single crochet. So you will pause here, continue to work on down the remainder of your row, and we'll be back in just a moment to move on to row number 9. Row 9 will begin with our switching back obviously to color A, and we've done our traditional single crochet into the very first stitch of the row. We are now going to do a double crochet here into the very next stitch. So identify, slide down 2 rows below, finding that little bump, just like we've been doing. We need to do a single crochet here into the very next stitch, followed by a double crochet, oops, there we go, kind of splitting my yarn a little bit, I apologize, single crochet, and double crochet. We will now do 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches, just like we've been doing, back loop only, 1 double crochet, one single crochet, one double crochet, one single crochet, one double crochet, and our repeat ends with 1 single crochet. So we'll recap that real quick. Our repeat begins over here with the double crochet, followed by a single, 1 double, 1 single, 1 double, 2 singles, 1 double, 1 single, 1 double, 1 single, 1 double, 1 single. Again, remember down in the description You will find the row start time. It'll take you right to the beginning of this row if you need more help. Please pause here, finish out the remainder of your row, working in the same set of stitches all the way down over and over, and we'll meet back up for row number 10. Row 10 begins now. We have joined on with color B this time, and we will begin our repeat immediately after our single crochet here in the first stitch of the row, the traditional. We are now going to do 1 single crochet into this back loop, just as we've been doing, 1 double crochet into the very next stitch, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets will be done over these next 4 stitches. 2, there's number 3 for me, and number 4. 1 double crochet here into this very next stitch, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, and our repeat ends with 1 double crochet. So our repeat for row 10, we are working in the same manner all the way down the rest of our row. Our repeat begins with our single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, then 4 single crochets right across this section. You can see you're starting to really see the shape forming. 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet. And you may pause here and meet back up with me when you're ready to move on to row number 11. We have 11 and 12 to go, and then we will be finished with this pattern. Working in color A, we are beginning row 11 now. Our repeat for row 11 begins with 1 double crochet here into this very next stitch, 'and we are going to do 1 single crochet here into this very next stitch. We will be doing 1 double crochet right here into this very next stitch, we will do 4 back loop only single crochets, 6 back loop only single crochets over the next 6 stitches. So there's 1 for me, here's 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and 6. Oops, splitting that yarn again. Now we will do 1 double crochet here into this very next stitch, 1 single crochet here into this very next stitch. We will do 1 double crochet here into this very next stitch, one single crochet, ends our repeat. So you'll be working in this exact same manner on down the rest of your row, doing your double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, 6 single crochets, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, single crochet. So please pause here, meet back up with me when you are ready to do our final row, number 12. Row 12 is beginning now with color B joined on. We will begin our repeat immediately. The repeat for row 12 begins with a single crochet into this very next stitch. We will do our double crochet here into this very next stitch. Eight back loop only single crochets over the next 8 stitches. There's 1 for me. Here's number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8. We will do a drop down double crochet here into this very next stitch. One back loop only single crochet, and our repeat will end with 1 double crochet. And that is the repeat for this final row. So row number 12 began over here with our single crochet. We have a double crochet, 8 single crochets, double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet. So please pause here and meet back up with me when you've completed this entire row, and then I will tell you how you will rewind back in this video if you are desiring to complete multiple repeats of the same design and move up for another set of this exact same pattern. Here's what our work is looking like after we have completed all 12 rows of this design. So in order to move up for an additional repeat of this same pattern, so to do the same thing over again for another set, you are simply just going to rewind back to row 1. You will complete all of the same rows from row 1 through row 12 in order to move up to the next design. I hope that you have found this tutorial helpful. As always, I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Please feel free to leave me a comment down below, and if you have any suggestions for future videos, I'm always open to hear your feedback. Until next time, bye for now.